Number 2, Ohio State at Maryland.
So this is similar to what I just said, right? The game's not about Maryland. This is about Ohio State. How badly do you want to play in a legendary game and what will become a legendary game next week? And this one will be at home. And remember, by the way, Ohio State, they are so fired up to play Michigan at home. They haven't played the game against Michigan at home since 2018. Because remember, the COVID year got canceled in 2020, and so they went back to the Big House last year, lost that game in the snow, and now they're finally going to host a game for the first time since 2018. You think they're not excited for that? This spread is 27.5. Maryland has not played great in the back half of the season. And again, just like the Michigan-Illinois thing, this is not really about Maryland. This is about Ohio State. There's two things that I'm looking at surrounding this Buckeyes program. One is the health of the running back position. How healthy are you going into next week? Treveyon Henderson did not play last week. Miyan Williams went down in the game right before halftime. I thought it looked really serious, and I'm thinking to myself, like, man, this is a precarious situation for Ohio State to be in. Now, it turns out that this injury may not be all that serious for Miyan Williams, which is a huge bright spot. In fact, Ryan Day said, and I quote, "I think we can get healthy, and I think we can get healthy in a short order," he said, end quote. If they can get healthy and get Treveyon back on the field and get Miyan back on the field, here's why all of a sudden all those injuries and all that adversity was a blessing in disguise, because they've been able to establish depth. Think about it. Xavier Johnson, big 70-yard touchdown run last week. Started his career, I believe, as a walk-on. You've got Dallin Hayden, comes in as a freshman, has gotten meaningful carries. That's huge. Ryan Day always talks about experience and development and having the opportunities to develop. Well, the frustrations of the health of the running back room has been at least an opportunity that they have taken advantage of by developing depth at that position. So if they are able to get healthy, then now they feel like, okay, we've got 3-4 backs that we feel confident in that we can give the ball to at any point in a big game, in a championship game, and maybe even down the road in a playoff. So that's a good thing, right? And you can say to yourself, like, yeah, and they can continue to fix the run game. There's actually another thing that they need to address, and they need to address it this week against Maryland. They cannot go into the game against Michigan as dependent on Marvin Harrison as what they have been over the last 3 weeks. Okay, you heard me talk about this on Monday. And the bottom line is that this is a passing game that needs to be more diverse, and not based on scheme, but I'm talking about production. More balanced in production. In the last couple of weeks, Emeka Egbuka and Julian Fleming have really been nowhere to be found, and they need to increase their level of play and production. From Fleming's perspective, he's got to catch the ball. Way too many drops against Northwestern, regardless of conditions. And then he had a huge drop on a deep ball last week against Indiana in which his chest hit the ejecto button. That can't happen. Okay, so in the last 2 weeks, Emeka Egbuka, 4 total catches, 44 total yards in 2 games. That's not enough. Julian Fleming in the last 2 weeks, 3 total catches, 31 total yards. That's not enough. So over the last few weeks, what's happened? Well, they've been looking almost exclusively to Marvin Harrison Jr., which, hey, that's a good option because I think he's one of, if not the best non-quarterback in college football right now, but he's accounting for about 49% of their receiving production over the last 3 weeks. That's too much because you're going to develop a tendency that then Michigan is going to look at and say, well, I know exactly what you're going to do in obvious passing situations, and they're going to manipulate their coverage to only focus on Marvin Harrison Jr. You've got to develop some balance as it relates to production at the wide receiver position. That's what this game is all about. All about. If I'm Ryan Day, I'm looking at Emeka Egbuka, I'm looking at Julian Fleming, and I've got to develop some confidence in those 2 players because I know that's going to be critical to their stretch run against Michigan, maybe in a champ game, and maybe in the college football playoff. Ohio State's favored by 27.5. Yep, give me that. I'm taking it. Ohio State covers even on the road, and I think that they win it by more than 27.5.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoy that clip, make sure you click subscribe somewhere down here. From game highlights to exclusive interviews and rankings, we've got everything you need as a college football fan right here, College Football on Fox.